My name is Catherine Schoaf. I am a fine arts major. I'm a second year, and I play the role of Henrietta Leavitt. Henrietta is a determined, stubborn dreamer. She does what she wants, and she tends to cause a handful of problems along the way. I read through the script before auditions and everything, and reading through it, it's a lot of me in there. I'm going to fine arts, and fine arts isn't easy, and it's my passion, and it's still what I choose to do, and I relate to Henrietta in that way. I see a lot more of myself in Henrietta than I have in prior roles, in what I saw in Miss Prism from The Importance of Being Earnest, and Frau Schmidt from The Sound of Music, and a handful of other roles. But, I see a lot more of me in Henrietta, a lot more real, I guess.
Yeah.
That determination, the finding the point, the living life to the fullest definitely is very prominent. It's what Henrietta is striving to find, the what's out there. So, yeah.
Determination, grit, passion.
Grit, passion, definitely passion.
Yeah.
I think being passionate and having that determination and that grit to do what you're passionate about, no matter how difficult or how unlikely it is so important today. It's how people get to where they are.
Hi, I'm Emily Fletcher. I am a music and history major, and I'm graduating in spring of 27, and I play Margaret Leavitt. Margaret is a homebody. She's really chill. She really connects her family, and her whole life is faith and family, and so her sister leaving kind of is disorderly to that. And yeah, she's really sweet. I think she's kind of ambitious, but she kind of keeps that to herself a little more because she's really integral to the family. They don't have a mom, so she, I think, took on that role. And she sticks generally to the stereotypical role that women play in this period. Yeah, it's not nearly as demanding as I have been called or asked to do from other productions, but it's still different. I work differently for each production, so each character that I've played, I feel like it's been a different type of work for it. Yeah, so generally questioning, I guess, scientific questions about the world. People still actively do that, but also just pursuing things. Henrietta, in general, pursues things at the cost of other things around her. And yeah. And so I think she comes back to her family a lot. So family's pretty important. And people support her. So she finds a support group. But she is very driven and doesn't really let anything pull her back from what she's doing. And so I think she's a good example of trailblazing in that sense of if you know you cannot do something, or you're not expected to do something, that it can be done. I would say it's about pursuing your deepest interests and your dreams and going back to the people that love you and support you. I've had plenty of fun memories. I play around a lot with Catherine and Kiever. We play Peter Shaw and Henrietta Leavitt, and we've had some interesting costume mishaps or just different things that are generally funny with delivery. We enter and exit scenes a lot back to back. We'll walk right out and then walk right back in with another line, and it's always awkward. So the awkwardness, I think, is a lot of fun because we're all awkward people, but it works out.
My name is Kiever Whitehead. My major is psychology. My year is a junior, and I am Peter Shaw. The show is actually written in the modern day. It's a show, I think her name is Lauren Gunderson. It's a historical fiction, so it is taking history of the 1910s and a modern day writer is writing it, you know? So to that extent, I find that a lot of the themes of the show do find their way into the modern day. The very clear gender divide and how the women can't break the glass ceiling of the hyper-sexed telescope, that's an actual line, that they aren't allowed to use. The one of the greatest technological achievements of the time, that not Hubble telescope, the Great Refractor, that's what it's called. The Great Refractor in Harvard, it was one of the largest telescopes in the world, and the women weren't allowed to use it. And it ties back to a very central theme, that there is still a fundamental divide, a barrier perhaps. Or at least that's a theme the show wants you to take away.
It's incredibly insightful.
Peter Shaw is probably smart. It's hard to say. He is a man who was given his position by his father. Nepotism. Sorry. Peter Shaw is a man who was given his position by his father. He's an apprentice to Dr. Pickering, this famous astronomer that we don't hear anything about. And his role in the story is to be the man, more or less. He is the only male in the actual show. And a lot of the central conceit of the show is his conflict with the women he works with. How do I not relate to Peter? So, okay, the thing about Peter is he is very good at mathematics and physics, kind of. He graduated summa cum laude, right? Except he really doesn't like it. He wanted to be an actor. He wanted to sing in musicals. He wanted to probably be on Broadway or something. And his father told him, no, you're going to work in a job that I give you. And that is what Peter did. Peter didn't get to live his life the way he wanted to. And I don't necessarily relate to it that way, because it's not like I'm here because my parents made me. But I do relate to it in the sense of he is good at STEM things, but he doesn't have a passion for it. And I feel that too. I used to be a chemistry major and switched this year to psychology, which is still part of STEM, but it's less STEM, you know? But like I did chemistry because I was good at it, and I just didn't have a passion for it. So my freshman year, in the show Proof, I played a man called Harold Dobbs, or Hal. Hal was a mathematician who was very smart and who was the man to the smarter woman who is also the lead. There's a lot of parallels. They're very similar people. But going back to my thing before, Hal is passionate about math. He loves math. He wants to know more about math. He thinks there's a greater thing to math to discover. And Peter, though he likes physics and astronomy and things like that, he thinks things are the way they are, and he doesn't want to change anything. And he doesn't want to learn more, really.
He doesn't have a drive to progress.
He doesn't have a drive. That's a great way to put it, yes. He doesn't have a drive like Hal has. So I can find a lot of the idiosyncrasies of Hal in Peter, but they're fundamentally different in a lot of ways too. Would it be a crime to say my favorite part is when I get to be mad? Because I do. Spoilers, in the second half of the show, I get upset with Henrietta because I'm not going to tell you why, actually. Go see the show. But I get upset with Henrietta. And so eventually it leads to an altercation where I yell at her, and then I go, I'm sorry. I was churlish and misguided. And then we rectify eventually, of course. But it's kind of fun to relish in that anger, because it's something you don't always get to do in real life, and it's not like targeted or anything, but it's nice to just experience the emotion sometimes.
Theater provides a safe space to be that bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Annie is very businesslike. She takes her job very seriously. She is very much, we are back to work, back to work. She's in charge of the department with Wilhelmina and Henrietta. I definitely relate to her because I've had a lot of leadership positions in which I have to make sure that everyone is on task and focused and just making sure everything keeps moving. This is actually my first show acting. I have been in quite a few shows backstage, on stage crew, like running crew, or in the pit orchestra. Just exploring the world and trying to make something of it. And definitely persistence too. Henrietta, she keeps looking for these discoveries. She spends years with this, collecting this data, trying to make sense of it, knowing there's something there, but not really being able to figure it out until one day it just clicks. And she makes this monumental discovery.
Yeah.
And that like changes all of astronomy and all that we know of the universe.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part would have to be the people I'm doing it with, and just all the silly moments backstage. Abby, who plays Will, she and I will be backstage and we'll just be goofing off. And there are some times where she and Emily and I will be like mouthing the lines of Henrietta and Peter while they're on stage and we're waiting. So it's just lots of fun stuff. Lots of, while we're waiting, just striking silly poses or dancing in the wings.
My name is Abby Mosina. I am a sophomore student here at AU. I am a fine arts major with a theater minor, and I play Wilhelmina Fleming. Wilhelmina is a Scottish lady. She's one of the oldest characters in the play. She is fun. She loves to laugh and make fun of everybody around her. Well, I mean, I'm not Scottish, so that's not it. But I make fun of my friends. I make fun of the people that I'm close to. It's how I show that I care. It's how my family shows that they care to me. So it's just what I've always done. The most difficult part's just the accent. I've never had to speak in a Scottish accent before. I've done British, never Scottish. So learning that and how to enunciate and do all of the normal theater things and project and make sure you can still understand what I'm saying. For my character specifically, learning to laugh at the life. Life is what it is, and you can't control that. And so if you laugh, it's better that way. And then also, she kind of chooses her own family in a way. She came to America. She was pregnant, and her husband abandoned her as soon as she docked. And so she didn't have anybody when she was here, and she created her own family when she got here. We went over to one of our castmates' apartments, and we're running lines, and after successfully running a scene and a half, we ended up playing euchre until about 2 a.m., and it was the most hilarious thing.